give these negotiations a chance.
Do you think that there's still kind of a credible threat that the U.S. will use force there?
I think the right solution on Iran was a very assertive diplomatic one. I think the great mistake that Iran was not under real economic political siege. That would have been the best solution. I hope, because we see that they are in trouble, we see this competition, there is a race. On the one hand, sanctions are working and are threatening the regime. On the other hand, their centrifuges there are too many centrifuges. There should not have been 19,000 centrifuges. So I think there is still room for very assertive sanctions combined with initiative diplomacy. Look at what worked in Syria. I think that actually Syria is a success.
What worked in Syria?
I mean, I'll tell you what happened in Syria. In Syria, I think I'm saddened by the fact that the Russians took the credit. This is the bad news that came out of Syria. The good news is that when you had a credible threat by the West with ingenuity, political ingenuity, you solved the chemical weapon issue in Syria in a remarkable way. If that kind of approach we'll see on Iran, I'm hopeful. But if we'll mislead ourselves, as we misled ourselves for years, all of us, again, Israelis are as much to blame as any others. If we elude ourselves, we actually might change our world, and then we will not feel the ramifications right now. Like in 10 years down the line, when we'll be in a different world, really with nuclear threats all over, where the 21st century might become a nuclear century, and we do not want that, and the time to prevent that is now. 2014 is critical to maintain the post-Nagasaki miracle of a nuclear stable world.
You write in the book, on the one hand, Israel is the only nation in the West that is occupying another people. On the other hand, we are the only nation in the West that is existentially threatened. Both occupation and intimidation make the Israeli condition unique. Intimidation and occupation have become the two pillars of our condition. So is that sort of the root of anxiety and doubt that Israelis feel?
Absolutely. And what I urge, usually people on the left concentrate on occupation and ignore intimidation. People on the right, everywhere, tend to emphasize intimidation and ignore occupation. I say, look at Israel, look at the conflict, and look at the Middle East with all its complexity. If you don't wrestle with the complexity, you don't get it. If you will see that these are the two pillars of the conflict and Israel's existence, I think we can deal with occupation and intimidation.
Do you think the world, the United States specifically, people of the United States, fully comprehend the psychic baggage, the weight of living in Israel?
Look, first of all, I'm a great admirer of America. I think that sometimes Americans don't respect or don't remember how great America is. In the American century gave the world relative stability, relative peace. It stabilized the Middle East, and it enabled Israel to live. So first of all, I'm grateful for what America is, and I really pray that America will be strong and wise, because there is no other leadership for the world. Any other leadership for the world is dangerous. I think that actually we really have shared values. I think that Americans sympathize with my country basically in a remarkable way. But I think that our extreme forces in Israel, the extreme right and the extreme religious, are endangering that relationship. So it's my duty to fight the darker sides of Israel and bring about benign Israel. I think that if we'll have a benign Israel, most Americans will continue feeling this strong sense of affinity, which is not just a strategic relationship. There's really a deep bond between the great democracy you are and this tiny frontier democracy that we are.
All right, the book is My Promised Land, The Triumph and Tragedy of Israel. Ari Shavit, thank you so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you.
On tomorrow's show, the UK's Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, will be here on the set. Also, Congressman Sean Duffy joins us. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.